Welcome to a late IHP show or daytime, depending when you're tuning in, and that's with your 5D mystic Maria or Magic Maria, depending on who you ask. But either or, I love sciences. They're actually the most spiritual of them all. Well, the ones who are like Peter Levine, they know what forgiveness means. They even know, well, grace. And then they know that everyone is actually a person who deserves. But that if they are not actually who they could be, there's a reason. Trauma charges, stored muscles, bones, tissues. Thanks, Peter Levine. So when you meet those who have that which is intelligence and humility and a solo self, where they live a life of meaning and connection beyond it and are passionate about helping humanity, well, they are the most amazing of spokespeople for God. Although those who say God doesn't need science apparently are using books and putting them on pedestals, and then the people who believe the words that come out of the mouth of these people also think that they are more of faith than those who are 5D mystics or spiritual or mindful, or even if we don't use any of those words, basically a intelligent mind who knows what scientists do, which is a badass thing. They actually give us knowledge, and their knowledge proves that God's perfection is in every single one of their children, which is why a scientist will humble a spiritual one. On the other hand, spiritual bypassers, which are every single bit of anyone in the year 2025 that denies neuroscience, neurobiology, decentralizing in the self, and religious experiences and how they can go well. So yeah, the ones who are uninformed of what a human is made of, that's every single bit of all of them. Yes, I'm letting you know this is a subjective opinion of one person who's in communion with God and knows, wow, God does, yes, come to all of us in many different ways. And all of our ancestors, the ancient prophets, they all tried to bring us all together. And what did that do? Well, we have the Dalai Lama, who once again presented to all the spiritual ones, hey, we all are here for the same reason, compassion, helping people to become their best self. Guess what? All the people who like to stay divided, quote unquote, they really have just half a brain. We've been talking about that, which is called the ignorant and the mediocre mind. So yes, the ones who fall for stories, children use stories. Children also cherry pick what they like and don't like. Children are all the grown human beings who use half a brain. This is why the mediocre person, Dan Martell, they're not dangerous if you're intelligent. They're not even dangerous if you're not intelligent, because the ignorant ones, well, appeal to the masses. Thanks, Schopenhauer. All the brilliant ones know exactly who lacks the intelligence, which is why advanced societies, they don't fail, otherwise they're not advanced. While mass delusion is not delusion for those who can see clearly that which is called adaptive child part people, they will cherry pick. I like that scientist. I don't like that one. So that scientist, that's called a child right there. Ego, what's up? So here's where, when you get humbled, thanks Peter Levine, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Cian Porges, when brilliant human beings who are a voice that is of love, they get invited to spirituality conferences like Dr. Daniel Siegel. And he's like, but I'm a science man. And they said, well, Dr. Dan, something along these lines. You live a life of meaning, and connection beyond the solo self. So playing God, those in flesh continue seemingly to forget that those of us who are children, who are not buffooned by manipulative grown-ups, who are actually, not only do they lack compassion without compliance, they lack humility. So I don't look at people who are grandiose and who are in what is called cognitive dissonance, structural dissociation, and a bunch more as if I need to look up to them. I don't look down, I don't look up, I look straight at them, and actually I won't meet them, because that's the whole point. They will look at someone like me and say, that's a bad one, because God don't need science. And the ones who believe it, though, they go to hospitals. At least the ones who don't go, they maintain some level of integrity and they isolate themselves. So, at the end of the day, cult, guru, very easy to spot. Guru will not isolate you. Cult, well, and really words don't mean anything, because a bunch of people who are using half of the brain use them, and then they wheel their mouths like this. Lack of imagination for evil, and you think, nope, we all have the imagination, but it's lack of education for this word that is used by philosophical religious textbooks. And if you're of any kind of intelligence at this point, then you would know that stories are for children. And that liking and disliking information, well, that's called cherry picking, and that's making you pseudo-intellectual. You're not even pseudoscience. At least I'm pseudoscience because I'm a spiritual one. So humility comes. Spiritual bypassers, they play God. Some of them forget that there's only one God. They use books, put them on pedestals, and they continue to use stories about demons and monsters and scare the children who are already scared because they come from homes that say things like this. They sold their soul to the devil versus, hey, let's go all together to therapy. Let's go to Patrick Tiahan and get better. Yeah, they don't do that. They're like Diego's family from Ice Age. So I use new stories to respect the unfortunate souls. So sad, but true. The 3D, 4D don't want to get their self-regulating game on. And do I help them? No, I don't. That's what they do to ventral energy. They like, you suffer, you just pretend. And I think, wow, if only you lived in my body, you'd know I'm not pretending. But hey, you know what? Never mind, because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want that. So does anybody know what the word of wisdom does? It diffuses conflict and provides clarity, except for the ones who don't want to hear. Anyone who wants to use words from ancient news. I love that I get to work with ChatGPT. I have a whole speech that I'm going to work on, but when I read the word grace, I'm like, okay, hold on a minute. Excuse me? Undeserving of love? Wow. No. That's actually only of an egoic human being who forgets they're in flesh and that we're like all of our brothers and sisters. So like Terrio points out, those of us who accept ourselves just the way we are, you can call me any name you want, in front of me, behind my back, you name it, because that's what cowards do. They don't know how to stand in the presence of another human being who's different, and no, different doesn't mean better or worse. In here, because here you can talk yourself all night long to death, and in the meantime, this is where the people who have self-loathing, gut wrench, torn apart are completely unsatiated. So as long as they have a following, they have good boy, good girl, did you do a good job, which is why I'm not near any of them, because when I see anyone in their eyes, I'm like, oh my gosh, that poor child, at least they have a following that bows down to them, pray to them, bow down to them, and that's what I think of those who are spiritual bypassers. Now, I don't think God's going to do anything about it because God's not going to intervene, and in the meantime, anyone who is spiritual will notice that none of us are God, because that's the whole point. God, Source, Akash, Anima Mundi, a spiritual one will know humility because God will continue to chime in as long as it takes for his children or Akash Source to maintain the love frequency. Now the scientists, the humble ones, the good ones, not the ones who make fun of us. The ones who make fun of us, I mean, really, I get it because, there's only so many things you can learn, and honestly, I really like that they keep learning because they're going to get us off the planet. So it's okay if we got some assholes. We can all be assholes. None of us have chips on our shoulder where we think we need to prove spirituality, we need to prove anything. No, scientists are proving every single bit of the truth, and it's not going anywhere near that which is evil. In fact, actually, it's completely the opposite. It's demonstrating what I knew when I was a teenager, because by the time I got to 20, I said, hey, God, so listen, I'm a coward. I don't know where Lucifer's at, but I'll take responsibility for what I'm speaking to. In the meantime, the people that are saying they use prophecy. Fourth, speak forth mind and heart of God. Encourage, comfort, challenge, or strengthen. Yes, outside of time, so can predict events future. Yes, and when they're using yesterday's books to predict the future, you're completely like, wow, they take things out of context and then they just dress up what they like in good ways, what they don't like in other ways. And I'm seeing 4D starting again with the whole everything's going to change since tomorrow. That's not how ascension works. Actively, no one's going to, nope, they have to want to be securely attached, non-traumatized. So they have to go to therapy, then they transform 3D, 4D. 5D is already doing great. That's why you do personal and spiritual growth. We don't say, we forgave. We don't need to forgive. I don't know you shit. You don't owe me shit. Our biosphere, all is good because I self-regulate while co-regulating. That's how it works. You don't have, I'm insecure. It's, I'm Maria. Who are you? Great. Am I meeting the real you, or am I going to have to, it's okay. I've already met a bunch of people who don't want to be their real self. I don't cry me a river. No, I don't actually, because you accept, wait for it. That's in it. Divine revelations prophetically reveals hidden things. Yes, miracles, supernatural. So there's still things that science doesn't explain, which is really nice. In the meantime, the whole goal of trauma treatment is to help people feel safe in their bodies. Thank you, Ruthlanius. And then here, Sadhguru. People irritate you simply because they're not the way you expect or want them to be. Essentially, they're not like you, which is why when you meet the scientists like Peter Levine and Dr. Daniel Siegel and Janina Fisher and Dr. Daniel Fox and all of the one Bezel van der Kolk, and you hear how they talk to you about what happens to the 0-1-year-old and the fetus in the womb, and the people who don't want to hear the science, they're not going to be back here. I'm not around people that don't want to learn things. Because those people are the same ones who fall for stories, and they want to say that I'm a ridiculous human being. I'm not a ridiculous human being. You can't manipulate me, because my 3-year-old got taught not only manners, self-respect, and I said, you can't spank me, it's in my body, and that's called the differentiated self. And then I have a twin that I got to actually fight with and play with, and I got disowned, so I got freed from effective realism. When you see grown human beings who don't know that they're in it, it's wow, I want it to be well, but it's about what is right, not what feels right. Wow, really, you're all feels, but let me leave it alone, because they don't want to hear that. They don't have emotional depth, they don't have emotional regulate, they have none of it. They just use blah 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 blah. Tune into our other episodes. So divinity, yes, it's our ability to transcend perceived limitations. So the minute that someone's dressing themselves up, they have actually completely committed to something. Instead, when you stay opened into the unknown, you're like, wow, there's a lot of things going on. Okay, so as our late IHP shows go, we're having fun. Physicist Thomas Campbell, thank you, man. Science proves, what was it? Love is where we're headed. It's amazing. And in fact, Sadhguru knows how many more cycles we got. I know that I'm going to be on earth, future husband. I know a bunch of things. And when you have your subconscious and conscious, is amazing. So forgiveness, Dr. Daniel Siegel gives me a really good way to talk to you about it. And grace, like I said, God's freely given unearned favor, love, and enabling power that extends pardon, forgiveness, and strength. Explains we're going to rework. We don't use those words because only one God, source anima mundi, and none of us are it. So when someone uses human words, unearned favor, they're a person who's needing to use favor with earned and not earned. You know, they're trying to teach children, and I'm not a child. So when children are getting taught, that's great. I get to teach a child, this is what good is, this is what bad is. This is what when you're earning money is, and you will always be unconsciously loved. But remember, you are a member of society, so conduct yourself effectively and allow yourself to know drinking is bad, drugs are bad. Yes, fucking is also bad, STDs. You can do it very moderately. So grown-ups explain things. They don't hide their children away from the truth, and they also don't lead them into maladaptive patterns of behavior. They don't tell them to talk to themselves like shit. They don't talk to them like shit. There's a lot of ways that you will teach a child how to know what is earned and unearned. By the time you get to your mid-20s, if you don't know how to understand what is good or bad like a grown-up, well, that's why you got people playing good boy, good girl, you're doing a great job. So when a society is manipulable because they're emotionally not independent, it ain't a buffoon. That I can't fall for shit, because again, the only ones who are falling for the bullshit are the same ones who tell me, I found it hard to believe that their first 2 years of life mean anything. They don't like the modern day therapists, they don't like scientists at all, and lo and behold, guess what Stephen Porges proves? The immediate defense and mobilization, and I've seen it, which is why it's not monsters. Like I told a friend of mine who's a mystic, I said, they're not monsters. And he's like, Maria, what you're doing is dangerous. My friend loves me. He's a mystic man, and he goes to therapy, unlike the other ones who are not going to therapy. And I have met their 5 different personas, and then there's more with others. So, you know, it is safe, luckily for me. I'm waiting to see when their next roundabout goes, but I tried talking to them about attachment trauma, but like Bezo van der Kolk points out, you can't talk sense to people who don't want to notice that they're actually in the wrong relationships, unhealthily treating their body, unhealthily doing everything. I mean, really, they continue to say the system's trying to hold us down. I mean, thank goodness we have laws, because seriously, otherwise these people would be completely, I mean, they want to tell me that the healthcare system is expensive or whatever. Yeah, I know about it, but at least I try to stay healthy. Then they want to also make up shit that they can lead a healthy life while treating their body like shit. Well, you know, hey, it doesn't get any better than this. So neuroception, there's good resilience, and then there's bad. Those who feel that they're victims and helpless and hopeless and basically angry in many ways, and that there's actually this unearned group, no, they're all deserving of love. Spiritual, solo self, soul, all the same. So when people like to talk about embodying God, embodying divinity, and then they talk to you about lower frequencies, and they continue to talk about it like there's energy vampires, dark auras, they don't know self-regulation, they don't own the sense of self, they actually have a disturbed self-organization, and that's why Patrick Tiahan would help them. They disregard that their CPTSD and all of it isn't getting better, and Boca Raton won't heal it, but they enjoy patting each other in the back. Then they enjoy telling people like me that we're either evil or we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. And it's like, sure, I don't. In the meantime, you know what? Where there is no envy, jealousy, or comparison and competition, within you, yes, you can refocus full capabilities on doing what is needed. Thank you, Sadhguru. So yes, when you do know, I'm not competing with any of those brothers and sisters because I have a twin, but also I would never copy anyone who's mediocre. And in fact, I don't copy them at all. I don't copy Dr. Daniel Siegel, Peter Levine, Stephen Porges, Janina Fisher, Bessel van der Kolk, Patrick McNamara. I learn from all of them. The greats. They're great because they know exactly how every embodied brain works. I know how mine works, which is why I'm not buffooned by manipulative, mediocre, very unfortunate souls who continue to want to use their mouth in ways that give those who don't actually want to get educated, can't get educated, don't buy into education, a find it hard to believe. Again, I meet many people in my life, and they all know about attachment trauma, and they continuously make it seem like they know how to take good care of themselves. And as a nurturer and a 0-1-year-old and a person who likes to be honest, I can't tell them shit at a certain point because they're actually sharing with me every day what they want to do. And so you don't tell someone you're doing it wrong, because if you tell me I'm doing it wrong, like my teenage friend said, you don't listen to what we tell you to do. That's better, right? I don't. I know exactly who I trust like the back of my hand blindly. Dr. Daniel Siegel, Peter Levine, lovely Stephen Porges, Pat Ogden, Janina Fisher, all the ones who know exactly what an embodied brain contains. I like Terry Real. I like, Patrick Tian. I love Dr. Daniel Fox. He helps narcissists and BPD. I love every brilliant human being. Neil deGrasse, bring him on. Bill Nye. I love all of the ones who would, it doesn't matter if they talk down to me. Again, they are knowing what they're doing versus the ones who want to keep using good versus evil stories, manipulate their words, and continue to make it seem like God doesn't welcome all his children and they live in ancient time. So, science didn't get, luckily, for the ones who care, as there's obviously scientists who don't care, meaning the ones who are competing with each other because they want to prove themselves to their mommy and daddy. And so when you have unhealed ones, those who do know what the fuck intelligence is, they're not wasting their breath on that. They actually allow themselves to respectfully respect, because that's how it works when you have humility and you don't compare yourself and you're like, wow, okay, did that just come out of their mouth? You know what? I think it's a good thing that we don't know each other. Wow, yeah. So my loved ones, they actually make me aware. Sometimes it seems you're making fun of us and that you think you're better than us. Oh, I don't. I just know whatever. I'm learning and where, and I'm not teasing my family, by the way. They tease me and we tease each other. But there are definitely two kinds of people, those who make things happen and those who enjoy it when it happens well and complain when it doesn't. Thank you, Sadhguru. His quotes are amazing. As well as what is past cannot be fixed. What is present now can only be experienced, and what is future next can be created. And we all know where we're headed. I know where we're headed into the future. It's amazing. And as Aristotle points out, a friend you love is considered your second self. So you'll perceive everything that another person perceives, which is why Peter Levine humbled me. So does Dr. Daniel Siegel. So when they talk about human beings, they always have humility. More than any one of those of us who can be grieving and angry, like I am, with the not meeting of the real people. I don't like liars. And that's why my facade friend and I had a face-off with him. All I asked you is to be yourself. He doesn't know how to be his real self. He only knows how to be his fake self. And that's why you can't convince. In fact, he says, you're a hypocrite, Maria. No, oh wait, why? Because you say this and that are true. Once you find out who has an integrated brain, actually has a consilience approach, you understand why those who don't have the integrated brain think you're a hypocrite. And then they begin to get charged with information, and then you notice that they don't know what wisdom is, let alone are they a wise adult. They cherry pick what they believe in, and what they believe in doesn't matter no, it matters. I will respect your subjective opinion, which is why my family teases me, because they're like, we know that you're not budging. Yeah, it's not that I'm not budging, it's that I have scientists I learn from, and you're telling me your subjective opinion, and I have a different one. And I'm not trying to, say it's right or wrong. And so once you explain it enough, they get it. So the word grace, again, I thought it was a good one to use, but as I look at the whole unearned, everyone deserves love. God knows every one of his children. Humans use those words, so none of us are God. I'm trying to let you know, spiritual bypassers, they actively, consistently will continue to play a part and role, and anyone who is of faith will know that God comes through every single bit of everyone with a heart and says all his children are all his creation. So the only ones who use stories of good and evil for children that continue to believe in demons are the ones who are uninformed, uneducated, don't believe neuroscience, neurobiology, decentralizing the self, and religious experiences doesn't disprove God or any of our ancient stories. What it proves is how your embodied brain works. And then what it proves with all of the entire other keep is how people who are unhealed continue with nightmares. Nightmare after nightmare after nightmare when the brain is trying to heal and the human being disregards that. Yes, they disregard going to do the right thing. So people who are in college begin to do the inner critic. No, they begin as teenagers. Then they get to college. They talk about loneliness, fucking, and STDs. No, I talked about STDs. So when you are 45.0 version and you're meeting Peter Pan and Pinocchio on the island and Wendy's, it's not people that you think are going to threaten the future. You just realize, wow, YouTube and anywhere online made me very well aware of how I can be entertained some more. And then how, God tells me to hone it in and not be too entertained by that, which is sad because, again, it's not funny. It's not funny that people betray themselves and don't welcome the entirety of them. So I'm not actually laughing at them. I'm laughing with Buddha. My right and my left, we laugh together. There comes a point in deep therapeutic and embodied work, and or if you just maintained your higher self, where the question is no longer how do I heal, because yes, some of us, we didn't even need healing. We just learned how to cry like a big girl and get angry like a big girl and get afraid, the panic attacks, and surprised and disgusted and healthy. So functional child adults do great here at IHP. But how do we live amongst those who will refuse? And unlike Patrick Tian, who supports his community to get reparented, we're already our own inner child. So my 01-year-old, she will always be at the forefront. I will protect her. My 3-7, I'm a grown woman. My mom taught me self-respect, and I also know God. And again, I remember noticing how none of the prophets were successful. Science will be successful because they prove that every person with their human makeup has the capacity to become the integrated brain, the restored embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating human being, and a self that has organization. Those who don't want it, they don't have to. We won't be pointing fingers. Only people who are insecure point fingers, and that's because they have an ego that's insecure. People who are grown say everyone is deserving of love. How dare you play God? How dare you use books? How dare you put them on pedestals? How dare you continue to use a story of devils and demons and evil when there's explanation after brilliant explanation of neuroscience, neurobiology? So you know what? You're going to buffoon people? No, you're going to have the people who want to believe a story because that's how ignorant they are, and you're playing to not hear. Out there, they're going to be playing to crowd. Like my lovely human being, a family told me, I'm sorry, Maria, as they put their hand on my shoulder. I remember when people looked at me and I told them about demonic possession. This is called a teenager version of an asshole, quote unquote, not my friend in that sense that he's no, but this is what a spiteful energy is because they haven't forgiven how they were treated. And when they told me, they looked at me like it was weird. It's now you're going to be rejected. Now I have someone who can feel what I feel. In the meantime, I'm not feeling any of this because I was asking for an explanation of how do they tell you that science is not explaining the most amazing thing of our human body, which is all of God's perfection is in everyone. God doesn't need science. And then it was, we can't let everything in because bad juju will be let in. And I'm so sorry. You're just going to have to accept that you're rejected. And you don't tell somebody, I'm not like offended, or you don't, because, really, at that point, I'm just thinking, wow, yeah. So, I have plenty fun stories. You can come back. But in the meantime, as I was trying to read to you a little bit, those who refuse to get their full self online, I grieved already. It's going to happen. It's fine. They won't get to know who they are. I know exactly who I am. And then we get to see each other for real. And when we meet the ones who are going to keep calling us names, yeah, it's fine. But it's not a moral question. It's a nervous system one. Yes, they're not sovereign of their nervous system. And it's an integration question. They don't have bilateral, vertical, overall integration. In fact, that's why they think wellness, lifestyle, and well-being mindset is a scribbly board, as they don't know open-ended inquiry with the sad, mad, afraid, disgusted, happy, surprised. But when you have done the work or, again, you didn't need to go to therapy, but you continue to maintain your higher self. I was an adolescent when I continued to maintain it. My lovely catechist helped me with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, the good ones. You can read about my story in the book The Ways to God. I'm a co-author of it. So God does come to us through the heart. Holy Spirit, again, Jesus, Buddha's here too, all descended masters. I am spiritual for a reason. I'm also Wubu Pseudoscience for a reason. And I'm very sad to say that I can't even begin. There's no words when you meet ignorance. There's no words when you meet those who sell a story. And then there's no words for the fact that they completely are oblivious to everything. But there are explanations. Yes, thank you, Stephen Porges. The defense mechanism of ego and seeing it happen. I'm talking about a random other human being, an individual with a big belly, a heart attack waiting to happen, completely unhealthy as can be. Week prior, fell down on their head with another woman. They were completely, thank goodness, alive. The week prior, arguing with me about lack of sleep, meaning I'm not going to sleep at all. I'm going to fucking do a bunch of shit. This is a man, a grown man with a daughter. He's no longer in a relationship. And in the meantime, I'm not trying to do anything. I don't even want to talk, really, because I have a knack for noticing when people bring to me ridiculous conversations. And so this person out of nowhere, we're not talking about him, I'm explaining attachment trauma, and he's like, I'm healthy as can be. And in the minute, I'm like, I didn't say anything. Silence. That's what happens when you're like, there's nothing. My brain's quiet. I'm respecting. No, it's we are calibrated. We respect automatically. This is I'm not, again, you're not God, you're not it. Everyone's deserving, everyone's a person. Explanation. Explain biologically rude people. So you're humbled and you're going to have a good time. And yeah, there's not any kind of the ones who end up in prison. We all know, thank you, Michael Stone, for your forensic criminologist scale. I surround them with therapists. So when you have done the work and or you maintained your higher self, an open heart, whether you come with the Trinity and beyond or not, it's okay. We're all on the same page. Our society advances every year. And we are actually at a very beautiful spot where we have new technology. And like when the calculator was invented, our lovely teachers probably freaked out a little bit about it. They're going to make everyone dumb. And then they learned, oh, wait, we're going to teach them how to use it well. So I love online entrepreneurship, online marketing, online mentorship. And I can tell you that AI, it hasn't made me dumber. No, actually, it supports me. And then it gives me stuff that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to tweak it to make it for the advanced future human, not for the ones who are playing that which is called a very mediocre game of trying to behave as if they have a right to cast stone, to define what others are. So the solo self who lives a meaning and connection beyond is, I don't judge. I can make fun of people who think that's mean. That's an insecure person. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm actually very authentic and transparent. And science explains what I'm dealing with when I got intelligent minds and when I got Dan Martell, really, they're not dangerous. When I got mediocre minds, and they're actually quite hilarious. The only thing they use is the evil demon word to dress up anything they don't like. And then they continue to say that that's how we play with it. And they continue to manipulate in the most absurd of ways. I think I was watching that on, yes, I watched some of that on a movie. Yeah, it's actually quite explainable. Patrick Tiahan has a great example of how someone in a very distorted, unhealthy relationship will make it look like they think, I know these people, I know people like that. Actually, two of them, I'm like, look, these are emotionally unavailable fantasy stages, dopamine hit men. They really need therapy, not you. And you're not in a relationship. You're actively, I don't even think this is babying. What I really would like you, and they both inquire, said therapy. Yeah, that would be great. I wasn't going to say because I'm not allowed, but that would help. Neither of them did it. So, it's not funny, but when you do know how to use your body-mind connection, that's alive, regulated, honest, you have integrity, you see clearly, ground in reality. Any of our cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable, but science is not a belief. It's data and facts. So when it proves again and again and again what those who do not want therapy do, so we will see those who won't choose therapy. Yes, our 3D, 4D brothers and sisters, they won't choose self-inquiry. Nope. They definitely won't choose to notice their very maladaptive patterns of behavior or their mannerisms. So when they're modeled contempt. So sometimes you don't have actual grandiosity or narcissism due to shame. Sometimes it's because you're copying the human being who actually behaved in such a way, and now you look like them, which is why you would be best to get humbled. Peter Levine, again, will humble, like Dr. Daniel Siegel, any spiritual one, because we know the timbre of God. It's discerning, equanimous, and loving. And that's encouraging, comforting, strengthening, supporting. There's no shaming. So the only ones who keep on wanting to use deserving, undeserving. When someone said to me, we're anointed, I said, no, we're not. And when I hear words from the medieval times, I'm like, yeah, we changed Shakespeare's wordings over time. I'm going to bring to you these words. They can put them over here. The ones who prefer to use like a dictionary are basically rigid to the point of where they think that they have a right to say who's deserving and who's not. I don't think any one of us has a right to say who's deserving or not. I go and vote for laws. So that's how I actually try to ensure my society in the globe and everywhere will move forward. That's it. Other than that, that's wow, you actually, so ego, that's it. Self-acceptance means that you can be a piece of shit, so can another. So you won't feel that, oh, I can say who's deserving and who's not. Also, again, as a child of God, that's a no-no. It's passing a stone. So yeah, when I hear the word, I know we teach children, good and bad. Grown-ups need not use those if they're actual grown-ups. If they're instead emotionally immature human beings, they prefer using words because they like to shame each other. As that's how Diego's family from Ice Age does it. Spiritual bypassers and the ones who want to say they're scientists, but then they isolate themselves and they say, oh, my stuff is right, our colleagues are right. And you think, wow, fabulous. No, you don't, but you make fun of them like I'm doing right now. So you will see those who won't choose therapy. They won't choose self-inquiry, accountability, let alone emotional intelligence or emotional mastery. They don't even have management skills yet. They will not have emotional or mental restorative embodiment skills. And that is not because they're evil. No, we don't use the word. No, they're not ready to meet themselves in their body. As Stephen Porges, Pat Ogden, Daniel Siegel, Bessel van der Kolk, Junior Fisher, Peter Levine, and many other somatic experts and beyond those words will tell you. So humility, it comes because you remember everyone's deserving of the love of God. But furthermore, it's not even about deserving. God created us all. So whether you call it source, Akash Animundi, God's creation, and that's it. You can't play it. If you're moving beyond those limited beliefs, transcending it means that you will remember you're in flesh. And then you'll remember the bigger cosmos, and you don't need words for it. So again, we really have, I don't actually have anything to say for the people who are giving the children who need a place to call home, like Peter Pan did to the Lost Boys. So the non-integrated people, they stay in that which is called a non-bilaterally integrated brain. They stay in defense mode. They will confuse discernment with contempt. They will confuse clarity with collapse into superiority. They will confuse grief with judgment. And they will actually pretend to know what they're talking about. But hold on, what is this? Yeah, that's the part of where I'm not gonna change. I'm changing this one. So I'm using some notes. Give me a second as I rework my words for myself. But ignorance, cognitive dissonance, structural dissociation from unhealed trauma or herd mentality doesn't need our grace or forgiveness, doesn't need these words. It's a mediocre mind. It's not about sin and it's not about the ancient world. It's actually distortion. Broken selves who have adaptive child parts, leading them follow not only mediocre lifestyle habits, they follow mediocre lifestyle human beings who continue with stories. They completely disregard that they don't know self-regulation. They only know dysregulation, and that is clear because they have unexamined maladaptive patterns of behavior. Inner critic, outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking. They have fantasy stages. They need dopamine hits. They actually have a complete pattern. It's 5 hands, and they don't know where they're headed in life because they actually don't anchor in their strength, the ventral vagal state, the ventral energy, and they do that. No, that's how I'm making fun of it right now because that's exactly what those who don't go heal themselves will say. You're not always happy. No, I'm not. I know all the emotional spectrum, but I am in my anchored in ventral energy, which they will say, I found it hard to believe. That's bullshit. And you'll say nothing because that's actually your innate healing inner ability. Use stress. Wow. Explanations, not stories, to make someone feel special. So when you're embodied, great. Join us here and integrate it. Have a good time. We will no longer feel like we're not, so when you're integrated and you're a person who has their restored embodiment, you'll feel whole. So you are whole, you're meaningful, you choose growth, you don't need others for that. You don't try to convince others to see you for who you are. You know who you are. You're not trying to be understood. You're just going to explain, this is who I am. You don't need validation from people. If they can't see your true self, it's, again, not something that you're like, oh my God. So it's really not. My facade friend, he still doesn't know who I am, but he thinks he does. And I accept his interpretation because that's what it is, subjective reality. So functional child adults are not ashamed of our vulnerability, of our childlike open-heartedness. We don't need to explain why we will get upset, but we'll try. But we are not spiritually bypassing when we give science explanation to why people are mean. The ones who actually use the word because we have equanimity. Yeah, they say that those of us who are equanimous are bypassing. What they don't realize is when someone tells me you have a right to be angry, are you telling me I have a right to justify my bad behavior as a grown woman? You don't know how to emotionally manage, master, and actually use that which is called an emotion in your own body in the most amazing of fucking ways. Wow. Yeah, no, you don't tell that to them because that's the minute that, oh, what, are you neutral? So you have no opinion. This is how people that don't know anything about emotional mastery or depth do. That's hilarious. No, it is hilarious because it's just like, wow, I didn't even think so many people would not want to have open-ended inquiry with fun, because why would you not? Crying is not the end of the world. Having a breakup, not the end of the world. Being rejected, wow, not the end of the world. Like, seriously. So wholeness is this: personality patterns, attachment, secure, and what was it? Temperament. Yeah, my temperament. I really love my temperament. So thanks to Dr. Daniel Siegel, I'm trying to let you know we have fun with our mind body because it's connected, and we have a whole sense of self. So that's why it's a playground. And flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brains are the integrated ones. It's not special gift. It's actually your choice, because neuroplasticity, the agent is imagination. We use the bright sides and we get to be in our embodiment. So you don't grieve what could have been with those who are fake, like my facade friend. He still to this day actually talks over me. He's the only man that I yelled at in the face. I realized he didn't know that he wasn't being himself, and now I have an explanation. And as for twin flames, they don't send you into a spiraling anything. Oh, if there's one thing that happens is a good thing. God is always amazing. Yeah, we don't need protection. The ones of us who are in community with God, it's more of, like, thanks God. Thank you so much for keeping me away. See, if there's one thing, a person who's empowered, I don't have a right to be angry. I can get angry because that's a part of my emotional plane. And when I freeze, it's because strangers. My mother makes fun of me and I make fun of it too. Like, I yell at you all the time. I'm trying not to, Mom, but you know it. So she has told me, yeah, you get scared of other people, but look, you can get angry with me. I'm like, yeah, because you let me, which is a good thing. That's why I'm grounded in reality. She also explained to me that I can't be disowned. And so with that being said, my body's smart. I'm 4'9". Strangers who are angry or who are getting all in their sympathetic, they're stronger than me. So my body's smart. It got quiet. And then it wanted to cry. And this was in a game. If you're a regular, you know what game I'm talking about. I'll never forget. I didn't expect my body to do it. Come on, Maria. The person who was doing the whole activity is like, say no. And I was like, The guy that was a part of our group, he didn't realize that I actually was about to cry. He thought that I was playing a role or something, because then I met him in another group. I was like, no, I was about to get on the floor and cry. I just didn't want to interrupt our session, since this is not something that was meant to come up. I was shocked too. I was like, what the fuck? I know how to get angry. So long story short, oh yeah, I have good access with anger. It's actually very much here. Then it comes out and it's good, and doesn't make me say I'm going to get angry because I'm going to correct. I don't correct. God knows everything. He takes care of it. I go vote, and that's where I vote, and I look forward to the police getting better and everything getting better. And so I'm very much in favor of what I teach as a mentor. Personal growth, spiritual growth. I was going to say preach, but I don't preach it. So with my friend, he still believes that he's right and I'm wrong, and that I'm a hypocrite and he's not. And in the meantime, he's a hypocrite, I'm not, but that's subjective experience. So emotionally immature people will continue to be on the suffering scale. Those of us who are not suffering it, we bow down and say, it's an honor to meet those who have humbled us. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel, as he points out, who is in a role as a secure attachment figure for any individual who has never had one, will be able to soothe them as they continue to go out into the world. So we'll be a safe haven for them. And then we can also be a secure base. That means they can talk to us about what's going on, and they're going to have a good time. And that is actually where you've given someone something they may never have had. And that's an anchor. And that's a good anchor that will then allow them to make a good choice if they want. If they don't, well, they won't, like my facade friend. And then they continue to make their decisions not based upon what truly matters and works. No, based on their likes and dislikes. Thanks, Sadhguru. So, you never think in terms of who is doing better or worse than you are. The only question is, am I doing my best? I know my A game. And then I know when I get sloppy. And I don't like when I get sloppy. I'm a healthy perfectionist. So you don't grieve the conversations that won't ever happen. Yeah, in fact, actually, this is hilarious. Oh, I thought at one point with one of the twin flames that I was actually having what was an honest conversation. And then, poo, I got the same shit. I was like, oh God, this is hilarious. And then I was like, my God. No, I wasn't. I got all attachment trauma educated. So by then I knew exactly what the dark sides of neuroplasticity do. And actually, I know that then I'm just a cog in a machine, which isn't good or bad, because I have plenty of other people, like my facade friend. I'm simply, that's Maria, and they give you all the traits that they've decided you have, and you're like, wow, I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty. And they think that you're pretending, and you're not. And you don't grieve the wholeness and humanity that remains dormant within these individuals. You know that it's not your job, let alone your capacity, to wake up that which is their self-regulation skills, because you can't. They're actually afraid of being in ventral vagal state. You see, that's the whole thing. So you can't wake them up to self-regulation, to the truth about what's happening within their body. You can't talk to an adaptive child part about the truth because they're already reacting. And when they doubt that which is kindness, they continue to test it. They also doubt that which is neutrality and think you're hiding something behind your back. And so you just learn how to leave it alone, because they're going to validate their own behaviors. I have a right to be angry. You're a piece of shit, or whatever it is that comes up from their mouth. Like my facade friend, you're evil, you have bad intent, you name it. The things that ego comes up with, which is why I am not surprised at the masses. And I am not surprised at those who believe that they are actually the only, So there's intelligent minds out there is what I'm trying to get to. There's not just the ones who are falling for crap and bullshit, but the ones who do, you better bet I'm making fun of them. They don't need my forgiveness. That sounds very cocky. Yeah, but I can forgive the way Dr. Daniel Siegel taught me, which means that once you have grieved and you have gotten sad and all those tears have come out, whatever it is, you'll be able to hug your 1-year-old and say it's okay, and that's how you get into your ventral vagal state, and you're like, yeah, it happens, because, as a wise adult, some people don't want therapy, and really that's about it, and you keep moving forward. It's not sentimental. Yes, it's actually structural. The capacity for you to process the charge of grief, thanks to self-regulating in your ventral vagal state. You're emotionally, mentally mature. You're an intelligent person. You're also not manipulable by no dumbass whatsoever. God loves all his children equally. Dark matter, dark energy. Please don't implode. Scientist explains what happens from the womb. Those who don't like it, I don't cherry pick. I actually believe. No, I know science. And then anybody who wants to use words like that, I leave it alone, because I got ego in town. Ego's playing a little game that has nothing to do with me. It just decided to reject that which is data, because obviously it doubts. And I'm like, yeah, I would doubt too, but I know where I get my information. So there's a difference when someone's curious, and that's because they love humanity and they're in it for expansion. They'll be like, wow, who'd you learn that from? Wow, I want to know. And that's who we're building a community with here. It's, wow, let's talk more about neuroscience, neurobiology, and our flow state. Let's talk more about ventral vagal state. Yeah, let's talk more about the 5D mystics are having a fucking amazing time. Whereas the 4D who's now talking about it's going to be, again, I just saw recently, I think it's tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day. So FYI, when they don't go to therapy, they don't actually expand. I have 4D mystic friends. They told me about their third eye being blocked as witches. Then they told me about their twin flame stuff. I told them when they told me that they were hooked, I was like, look, that's not how, no. I'm not having the same thing. They're like, yeah, but you have more experience when you have 3. I'm like, I don't think that's it. I thought you came from a special star. You told me you had superpowers. Like, this is not, and they got upset, and so then they went ahead and made some decisions, and as they were making them, because they're part of my oversoul, I was like, yeah, these are not really great decisions. You're coming to me for guidance. This is not, no, and they built karma. It's not good or bad, but yeah, they definitely didn't get to unblock their third eye. They could have, had they gone to take care of serious business, but let me leave that alone. So, you do understand The decision to differentiate and regulate oneself in ventral vagal state comes once you are a whole self. Otherwise, it's not there yet. But the people who will accept to see that which is reality for what it is, science does great at explaining that which the spiritual ones know. All their brothers and sisters have one of two choices. Like God gave me, Jesus, Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity, when I got, thank you, my first light body experience, confirmation, my good Christian Catholic upbringing. They didn't say you're going to be ignorant, no. And I remember learning about all the good information and then noticing, why are they staying all divided? The Dalai Lama specified we're all in it for the same reasons, which is true. Any enlightened one will know we don't need to divide it. It's anima mundi. We bring it all in. The truth. It doesn't have any fragility. The stories, they can continue. It's not like it's a competition. Are you trying to make one story more than another? Yeah, no, that's not. We don't put stories on pedestals. There's only one God, it. And then we all speak together and have a good time. Oh, I forgot the excuse. If we let everything in, we'll let bad JoJo in. Yeah, but that's not how it works when you meet the flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable-brained, the intelligent-minded people. They actually do know that science and spirituality come together. That's why they're teaching it in college now. So when you know those who are grounded in reality, they know that cherishable beliefs are falsifiable. Science, we have smart scientists, and then we have the ones that are like, okay, they have some things that are going on. Therapy, important for everyone who doesn't know that they have a doer, a doomsdayer, a ghost. Are we good? A pleaser? The why CPTSD isn't getting better. The people who continue to actually talk about good versus evil. Yeah, their whole entire spiel is they dress things up in ways that are absurd. So the decision to live without resentment. Yes, we do that. Well, because we know the truth about humanity and trauma, and really because resentment is a poisonous emotion that you would notice would be building when people bottle things up. Like the person who said, you're going to have to accept that you're rejected, Maria. They weren't trying to be mean to me. Their energy, I know it because I've known them for like my entire life, actually. And they've always been this person with this energy. And so when they were doing this thing, I knew what was happening. I felt sad that they felt rejected and made fun of and humiliated, and whoever it is that made them feel that way. But in the meantime, I gave them an explanation. They didn't deny what they saw. So they're rejecting science over that which is ancient words to explain that which is called a person who's having decentralizing and the self. And no, there's no religious experiences in action. In this case, we might have a person who needs help because DID, dissociative identity disorder, has that which is called reality, and there's a bunch of those who are healing, and thank goodness one is really excited. And I met one that's already healed in my class, DID and disorganized attachment. So when I'm hearing somebody want to give me the demonic thing, then I'm thinking of shitty Netflix, not docuseries. It's not about Netflix, is that they're not using any of neuroscience, neurobiology, and explanations to say there's no demon inside the people. Okay, so I'm seeing instead that they're using old news and there's no updated news. And then the new TV shits as using words. This is why words don't mean anything, because I'm seeing how they're getting used by those who aren't using them effectively to show all human beings have the capacity to be kind and to get their self-regulated. But then I think maybe they're ignorant of all these topics that I talked to you about here, because I love learning. And since I'm helping people, like I said when I was 8, I continue to learn as I care about what I do, like a professional does when they care about their honor and integrity and actually want to bring stuff that works. They're caring about a shortcut and how to make it look fancy. Well, I don't know. Maybe we should talk to Schopenhauer again. And yeah, I would not sleep well at night. So someone will call me a charlatan. I'm not one, but I'll be okay with it because I know, yeah, I'm pseudoscience. Are you going to therapy in the meantime? Or are you just crapping on people's content because you don't have anything better to do with your life? Which is where I think of the teenagers I met. My gosh. And then I met adults. And then I'm an adult who still meets adults. And I can't even, no words come. The minute it gets so low to the fact that I'm like, I need to be neutral. I'm not God. Let me get out of this whole shit. Okay. And that's it. I stop it. I stop thought. I stop all of it because it's none of my business. You do you and I do me. This is very disrespectful of me to be in your space. I won't be in your space. And that's how you differentiate. And then you say, leave it alone. And remember, don't tease too much because, that's not nice. That's all. And so, at the end of the day, we have compassion without compliance. We meet people where they are at their eye level. we love without the need for others to actually unconsciously love us or to know how to self-regulate, because we take care, thanks Terry Real, but we take care of our biosphere. Our biosphere don't have to fucking pay us back, and better bet that the ones who don't know how to self-regulate don't ever. My facade friend, he can't pay me back. He literally and actively didn't heal any of his core wounds, and his Achilles heel is all over it. So, they don't fuck with we. Thanks, Dr. Dan, for the acronym we. So, like I said, when you own the sense of self, you're like, rock on. No, that's not it. You're like, wow. Okay, I did it a couple of times because panic attacks made me very jittery with my sympathetic when people are around. Like, ah. So I twice was like, okay, I can do what Dr. Daniel Siegel suggested. I'm going to differentiate. And I differentiated. It was with heavy metal music in a pub, and I did it on purpose so that I could expose myself to that which is very yucky, low frequency for my body. That reminds me of my panic attacks. Then I had other people who are actually doing drugs, and I didn't know that. And now it was clear once I talked to somebody, like, they're all on cocaine. I was like, okay, that's why I needed to get the fuck away from them. As soon as I left the room, I was like, oh my God, I'm so much better. And then when they explained to me, I was like, okay, they were on accelerating whatever. So that's what it was. So yeah, we self-regulate. Intelligent minds, embodied human beings. We do love to know that you can't teach anybody to self-regulate. So we are not dominating, we're not correcting, we're not rescuing mediocre minds, we're not telling anybody who needs a therapist that they need a therapist, because that's not actually right for any of us to do. And we do know how to organize our own society with intimacy and meaning around that which is the future human, so the mature human being. We will not erase differences, of course. We respect subjective opinions, and then we know what grounded in reality means. We know how science works, and we know how to see every person clearly and to not expect what they cannot give, to not allow ourselves to think that they have to be their actual self. So I will say these words. I see you clearly. I don't expect from you what you cannot give. I release you from being yourself. My facade friend needs to hear this right now. I accept that I will meet you where you're at. And that is not arrogance. That is actually integration of the brain. It is a function of a child adult who knows self-regulation, differentiation, nervous system sovereignty, intelligent mind, body-mind connection for real, whether mystic, spiritual, mindful. We don't play God, and we're not it. And if anyone even is in communion the way that I know as a mystic, they will know every person can be in communion, and that none of us are here to tell the masculine, the left brain alone, what to do with their life. And when we get angry, it's because we grieve that we won't ever get to meet the real them. And that's why you will respect it. And it's called that you don't grieve what could have been. You don't grieve the conversations that will never happen. You do not grieve the wholeness and the humanity that they will never see of themselves, as you will always see them with the same eyes, unconsciously loving with flaws and imperfections. I do me and you do you. That's why forgiveness, the way Dr. Daniel Siegel pointed out. Any spiritual one will know it, because that's what God wants from all his children, because you're not playing God. The ones who instead forgot what they were meant to guide on, they don't encourage, they don't comfort, they don't support, they don't strengthen. They use stories to keep children divided, and they use good and bad. And the ones who are not of spiritual and are of science who do it, well, they got a bunch of amazing badass human beings out there. I love Dr. Dan and Stephen Porges. Wait, let me show. These men are heroes, and Peter Levine is also. No, they're doing the hard work. You see, he gets chased down hallways. He's still in the research lab because he's going to prove it, and we'll find out if he proves it. Peter Levine is doing some more great stuff, and Janina Fisher and Terry Real, Dr. Andrew Fox, the keep of somatopia, every single bit of all. So when a spiritual one gets humbled, it's by the scientists, because we'll see as they talk to us with their data, and then they have this very, like, when a child's like, oh my God, so they know how to explain to children, it's okay, they're all good. This is what somatic experts did. Breathe, children, is what they probably want to say. They all can get healed because their body is headed there anyways. That's their human makeup. Yay! And so at first I said, oh, they don't need us spiritual ones. But they're all healed. And I did that, and then I had to accept defeat because not everybody wants to go to therapy. So, it is what it is. And again, integration made visible, as lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel points out, is kindness and compassion. The road to integration can be incredibly energizing because what you're doing is not only bringing forth your A game, FYI, this is me interjecting, but it's also, as Dr. Daniel Siegel presents, helping someone bring out into the world the love and connection that is their birthright. And that is the birthright of all of us, which is why Dr. Daniel Siegel got invited to Spirituality Conference, which is why any of the scientist ones who tell you all of humanity has a heart, the ones who don't want to believe it, they're not the ones that I'm talking to. The ones who are closed-hearted, we know, and we are sad. But in the meantime, life as we move together to create more integration in our world, and that means anchoring in ventral energy and your wholeness, and you work with your lovely personality patterns and temperament, and we do that here, personal growth, spiritual growth. So do not look for the finish line. With life, the journey itself is the destination. I believe that's Sadhguru. And as he says, the most precious thing is life itself. Will you realize this now or only on your deathbed? Thank you, Sadhguru. And again, as he points out, may your decisions be based upon what truly matters and works, not upon likes and dislikes. People who like their stories, they don't care about what works or doesn't. When someone asks for a shortcut to integration, they don't care that they are helping people. They want to sell a product, even if they call it a service. And you're not a product. You're a human, and you're a person. And I love people. So it was never about building fans. I'm a fan of you. You can be you. The smart way, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, and teachable. Get ready for our lovely 2026. We got some very beautiful updates. And so we got digital products. We got our paid content on Spotify. We have mentorship, yes, one-to-one in group if you're looking for that. Workshops, retreats, looking into doing something with digital. We'll find out what's going to come. So thanks for stopping by and tuning into our lovely late IHP show and or daytime, depending what time it is. And I do look forward to our world being with more intelligent minds and open hearts. And that's going to be mystic, spiritual, and mindful. And the ones who don't like that we know God loves all of his children and that there's no monsters inside of any of them. Well, I mean, it's sad, but everyone has a different, decision to make if they want to be intelligent with a bunch of beautiful knowledge that speaks truths, or if they prefer their storytellers who are telling them what they want to hear and patting each other in the back like flat earthers do, and or the ones who say this is bad so it's demonic and this is good so it's not demonic, and that they're really playing to a crowd of manipulable people who don't have a good gut. Like Patrick Tian will point out, anybody who has been gaslit, they don't have a good instinct. In fact, that's why, again, they'll doubt every bit of a genuine, authentic person, because kindness is not about you being nice, it's about you being integrated. And then when you're neutral, they think you're hiding shit. I've been accused of you don't even know. And again, I already know it's not an insult. It really isn't. It's more of, it's a good thing. We don't need to cross paths with some people, and I'm pretty sure some people will not ever want to cross paths with me, and I'm okay with that. I love all people equally, but I definitely am not friends with everyone. After all, we only have 24 hours, so really you're mathematically not going to possibly be with all people. Okay, now I'm rambling, so I'm going to go. Have a good one.